they always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Hello, good morning, good day, good Saturday to all of yous. What is good on the internet? What is good in sports? I'm Akeem Balaam, aka Li495. Another Saturday morning, another edition of our weekend show, 10 minutes on the clock here on the Real Sports Talk. So I'm of course going to start with what happened on Thursday Night Football, and it was the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Really was not expected to be competitive at all, and for most of the game it really wasn't. 27-10, even though it didn't seem that close all that much to me. The Jaguars are just a horrible, bad football team. I mean, they used to be pretty good a few years ago, but now, there's a reason why it says 1-8 by their name as far as the win-loss column goes. If this were the English Premier League, the Jacksonville Jaguars would have probably already been relegated to a lower league, because for the most part they ought to be relegated probably to the SEC or the ACC or whatever local league that's down there in Florida. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are not all that much of a good team. But the Indianapolis Colts, surprisingly, they are a pretty good team. Believe it or not, they're now 6-3. Andrew Luck, I believe it was 18 of 27 for 227 yards or something like that. And he ran for two touchdowns, didn't throw for two touchdowns, ran for two touchdowns, even though he also had an interception. But he was able to lead the Colts to their 6th victory. I believe it's their 4th consecutive victory. And of course, they're playing with a lot of inspiration after what happened to their head coach Chuck Pagano. But right now, the Indianapolis Colts are 6-3. And believe it or not, behind a rookie quarterback, not even a certain former rookie quarterback back all the way 14 years ago, who's now currently front and center for the Denver Broncos. He was 3-13 in his rookie season, if I'm not mistaken, coming out of Tennessee. And Andrew Luck, even though it's totally an unfair comparison for a lot of different reasons, of course, to compare Andrew Luck to Peyton Manning, but to kind of put this in perspective, he was 3-13. Luck is already 6-3, already making a potential playoff run, and they have a real good chance now to get into the playoffs. Their schedule is rather favorable. I looked at their remaining schedule. Now they will play the New England Patriots next week in New England. Now, of course, I think that's going to be, and I think 70% of people outside of Indianapolis, Indiana, are going to say that is going to be a victory for the New England Patriots. But when you look at the rest of their schedule, it actually looks kind of favorable that the Indy Colts could actually pull off 3 more wins. And as weak as the AFC is this year, 9 wins, a 9-7 clip, will most likely get you into the playoffs as a 5 or 6 seed. Of course, the Houston Texans are going to win that division, but 9 wins, as far as weak as the AFC is, it looks like that may be all that the Indianapolis Colts need in order to get that 5th spot or that 6th spot and go into the playoffs. Really an exciting story as far as the Indianapolis Colts are concerned, and a lot of people are calling it a lot of people are calling it an inspirational story. It is an inspirational story, without a doubt. And there's also something that I've been observing. It kind of made me go back to last year when everybody was going gaga over 3 rookie quarterbacks in particular, Cam Newton and Tim Tebow, even though it was Andy Dalton, another rookie quarterback who was on the Denver Broncos, who got his team to the playoffs. Now everybody's talking about RG3, but Andrew Luck, he's got the 6-3 record. Even though I think that he's receiving more accolades this year, is Andrew Luck, than RG3 is last year, considering it's a much more interesting story, considering it is the Colts, it is the team that Peyton Manning once led, and there's always that old adage in sports that you never want to be the guy that came after the guy. or dare I say, the man in the case of Peyton Manning, and already Andrew Luck already has 6 wins. It is one season, but if this is what we're going to be seeing in the future from Andrew Luck, then big things are about to be popping in Naptown with the Indianapolis Colts. So definitely 6-3, and they certainly have a shot to get to the playoffs, believe it or not, with a rookie quarterback. Now moving on to my Week 10 picks. Falcons and Saints. I heard some pundits this week all over ESPN and NFL Network, one in particular, who said that this had the opportunity to perhaps be an upset, considering Matt Ryan does not play all that well. I think he hasn't won in New Orleans against the New Orleans Saints yet. But there's a problem with that premise. I still do not trust the New Orleans Saints defense. I saw what they did last week to the Philadelphia Eagles, and it was a pretty resounding victory. But there's got to be, and they have won 3 of their last 4. But I still do not trust that New Orleans Saints defense. And the Falcons have played some close games. They played some close games in the past, against the Cowboys, against the Redskins, against the Buccaneers, teams that you think that with an 8-0 record they ought to beat handily. But I still do not trust that New Orleans Saints defense. I like the Atlanta Falcons to win that. San Diego Chargers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers, of course. San Diego is coming off of a bye week, and the week prior to before that, if I'm not mistaken, it was them that absolutely just dominated the Kansas City Chiefs by a final score of 31-13. But that's the whole problem. They dominated the Kansas City Chiefs 31-13 the last time we saw them play. I actually think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a real good shot to pull off an upset. Give me the Bucs over the Chargers at home. Lions and Vikings. I'll go with Minnesota as far as that game goes. Denver going to Charlotte to play the Carolina Panthers. Let me think about that for a second. Broncos in a rout, big time. Oakland Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens. I will go with the Baltimore Ravens to win that game. Bills and Patriots. I will go with the New England Patriots. Titans and the Dolphins. Even though there's some talk about Jake Locker's status and some other things, I'm actually still going to go with Miami in that one. New York Giants and the Cincinnati Bengals. I like the Giants to win that. In the other New York team, you got the Jets and the Seahawks. Again, I've talked in the past about the defenses in the NFC West, particularly those of San Francisco and Seattle, and the Jets have a lot of problems as far as that goes. So I will go with the Seahawks at home. And also there's a lot of I heard about, going back to what was going on with the Giants and the Bengals, there's also a lot of trash talk going on between the two teams. I think it was Jason Pierre-Paul that was saying that, I'll do my talking with my pads. If you see me, you better duck. I forgot who that was directed to. It was directed on somebody on Cincinnati, but I still like the Giants to win that, and I like the Seahawks to win over the New York Jets. Rams and 49ers. 49ers all day to win that. Cowboys Eagles. Divisional matchup. But I trust the Cowboys defense, believe it or not, over the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, they of course, we saw what happened to them last week against the New Orleans Saints. And Dallas actually has a pretty good, they have a pretty good defense. They should have won last week against the New York Giants, except that Jason Garrett does not know how to call plays. 2nd and 1, I still can't get over that. 2nd and 1 in 3 consecutive pass plays. I like the Dallas Cowboys over the Philadelphia Eagles. Texans and Bears. There's a reason why this game is on NBC Sunday Night Football. Both of these teams are 7-1. Both of these teams have pretty impressive defenses, and both of these teams have quarterbacks that aren't exactly all that ballyhooed in the press. Of course, Jay Cutler, he can sort of be on and off, and we all know right now at this point about Matt Schaub. So and a lot of criticism has been given to the fact that perhaps these teams have had easy schedules, but I'll still actually go with the Houston Texans to go on the road to beat the Chicago Bears. But that's going to be a very fun game to watch on NBC. And the Steelers and the Chiefs, virtual bye week for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're one of the hottest teams in the league, and the Kansas City Chiefs are just are just awful. They're another team that ought to be relegated to the Big Ten, perhaps. So Steelers all day against the Chiefs. So just to run now: Falcons over the Saints, Buccaneers over the Chargers, Vikings over the Lions, Broncos over the Panthers, Ravens over the Raiders, Patriots over the Bills, Titans over the Dolphins, Giants over the Bengals, Seahawks over the Jets, 49ers over the Rams, Cowboys over the Eagles, Texans over the Bears, Steelers over the Chiefs. Week 10 picks. What are yours? So until next time, I'm just one guy talking about nothing. Rate, comment, react, reply, add, and subscribe. Who do you got winning in Week 10? Getting closer and closer and closer to playoffs. These games are going to start having playoff implications, so that's when it's really going to start to get lots of fun. So until next time, I'm just one guy talking about nothing on the Real Sports Talk. 10 minutes on the clock, NFL edition once again. See you on the internet somewhere.
Just a little bit around the corner from fear. Be there by next year, where I'm going.